LA should be the start. This is a video about the protests in LA against the ICE arrests. Here's what you're hearing on the news, that this is a violent uprising that has escalated so dramatically. The White House has deployed a Black Hawk helicopter with ammunition and weapons and 2,000 members of the National Guard to subdue it. Republican lawmakers have referred to it as an insurrection. Now, funny how they don't call January 6th an insurrection, although that was a violent attempt to dismantle the government. On the other hand, what's happening in LA is a protest. Instead of storming the Capitol, however, the protesters are holding signs and creating barriers to prevent ICE from taking away people. But the government doesn't want you to know this. They want you to think the protesters have become rioters and looters and that they're moving in to protect the citizens. The thing is, the government is lying about this, just like they've been lying every single day since Trump took office. You know what LA stands for, right? Los Angeles, Los Angeles, the city of angels. It's a city of immigrants. Restaurants, schools, construction, Hollywood, they all function because of the contributions of immigrants who are being rounded up right now at work, at family functions, outside donut shops, and at schools. What does it say when the government is willing to spend money and use resources to terrorize its people, but not to feed them or house them or keep them healthy? If ICE is in your LA neighborhood, call 888-624-4752, the LA Rapid Response Network. If ICE comes to your door, do not open the door, don't sign anything, and ask for a lawyer. If you attend a protest, know your rights. The ACLU has a very simple list of these that you can Google. Your rights are strongest in public places like streets and sidewalks. Private property owners can set rules for protests on their property, and if the owner says it's okay, the government can't stop you in your free speech. In public spaces, you have the right to photograph anything in plain view, including federal buildings and police. And on private property, the owners get to set the rules about that. You don't need a permit to march in the streets or on sidewalks, as long as the marchers don't obstruct car or pedestrian traffic. If you don't have a permit, police officers can ask you to move to the side of a street or to a sidewalk to let others pass or for safety reasons. If you think that your rights have been violated, write down everything you remember, including the badge and patrol car numbers and the agencies that the officials work for. Get contact information for witnesses. Take photographs of injuries. You can file a written complaint with the agency's Internal Affairs Division or a civilian complaint board, although let's be fair, in this administration, that may not get you very far. What if the police issue an order to disperse the protest? Well, they can't break up a gathering unless there's clear danger of a riot, interference with traffic, or another threat to public safety. If they do issue a dispersal order, they have to provide a reasonable opportunity for people to comply. Individuals have to get clear notice of that order, including how much time they have to disperse, what happens if they don't disperse, what exit route to use before they can be arrested or charged with any crime. Now, if the National Guard is called in, how does that differ from the police and what rights do you have? The National Guard's job is to ensure the safety of individuals during events of civil unrest. Protesters still get to retain their constitutional rights, including freedom of speech, assembly, and the right to petition the government. I remember this saying, as goes California, as goes the rest of the nation. Usually this refers to environmental protections and progressive lawmaking, but today it can apply to protests. LA should be the start of a peaceful, massive uprising against misinformation being spread by our current government and against the terrorist haphazard tactics that ICE is using to remove immigrants and detain them without due process. Immigrants who are not the criminals that the administration claims they are, but mothers, babies, and those who are literally being dragged away while showing up at scheduled appointments to get legal status. It's a good time to remind everyone of what due process is. Due process is a constitutional right that says people have to be informed of why they're being arrested, they have to be provided with a chance to challenge any accusations, they have to have a fair and impartial jury of their peers if they go to trial. And here's the kicker, due process applies to everyone in the U.S., citizens and undocumented immigrants alike. For those of us not in LA, don't listen to this government when they tell you the protesters are rioting and need subjugation. That is not happening. For those of you in LA, thank you. As California goes, as goes the nation. May you show the rest of us how to make good trouble.